Hey everyone, my name's Joe, and I'm coming to you from Nankin Hobby. Today, we're going to be talking about boats. Boats can be some of the coolest things in the world of RC hobbies, but boats require two very important things: good weather and good water. Here in Michigan, we get the best and the worst on these fronts. Michigan has over 10,000 lakes, and plenty of other smaller bodies of water. Unfortunately, we have a winter that lasts about 350 days. It's summer though, and we're in the middle of our boat window. So, if you're nearby and want to take advantage of the season, or you're fortunate enough to have a good body of water in some warmer part of the country, listen up. We're going to be going over some of the most important things to consider in choosing an RC boat. So here are 5 things. 1. Where will you be running? The first thing is to identify where you'll likely be running the boat. If you have a small pond in your backyard, we have a totally different set of recommendations than if you were headed to a large lake. RC boats vary dramatically in both size and speed, and the boats that'll handle the chop of larger bodies of water will likely be too much for your pond. 2. What kind of handling is important to you? Are you looking for something that'll handle well for speed runs in a straight line? Do you see yourself taking sharp turns? Is the look of the boat as it moves through the water important to you? The most common hull designs for RC speedboats are the Deep V and the Catamaran, and each of these have their own handling characteristics with advantages and disadvantages to each. 3. Can you swim? When you're bashing your RC car, it sometimes flips over. This means you'll have to walk over and flip it back. Boats are no different here, except that walking across dry land doesn't constitute a miracle. Some boats come equipped with a self-righting feature, which allow them to flip back into an upright position without ever having to touch the boat, or the water. For a lot of people, this is a critically important feature. 4. How fast do you want to go? Are you looking for something that'll rip through the waves and leave a huge rooster tail behind it? Or are you looking for something less intimidating? Perhaps something with less speed, but a more scale look. The speed you're looking for out of your boat will be a big factor to consider. 5. Are you handy? Unlike RC cars or trucks, where nearly every part on the vehicle is replaceable with countless aftermarket options, boats, at least nowadays, tend to be a bit more canned. While there's still a fair amount of aftermarket support for some boats, others are fairly turnkey with little in the way of upgrades. Some people want something simple, while others want something they can grow with. Additionally, some boats are very simple to work on, while others may be a bit more difficult, but offer more options. Deciding what you want in this regard is also an important consideration. Now, all of these factors play into each other in some major ways with each boat, so rather than going over options that fit each bill, we'll be talking about some of our top recommendations overall and addressing these factors with each. As mentioned before, the hull design of a boat can have important impacts on handling, and the 2 main boat offerings from Traxxas are the easiest examples to point this out. This is the Traxxas Spartan. The Spartan is a 36-inch deep V, a monohull design. This is the Traxxas M41 wide body. The M41 is a catamaran, essentially a platform on 2 slimmer hulls. While the overall length of the M41 is 41 inches, the actual hull length is 40 inches. A deep V, being a single, wider hull, finds itself pushing through the water, while a catamaran with its 2 slimmer hulls has less drag and cuts through the water. This makes the catamaran a more efficient design and is generally more stable. A monohull will also experience more bow rise as it pushes through the water, meaning the front of the boat will lift up, especially at high speeds. Bow rise on an RC boat isn't nearly as big of a deal as it would be on a real boat, though, and for many people, this adds to the coolness factor. Cornering is another important consideration when choosing a hull design. A catamaran will be more stable in turns, but, because it's wider overall, will have a larger turning radius than a deep V. The Spartan and M41 come equipped with the same electronics, many of the same parts, and much of the same hardware. Given that these boats are the same in many ways, and they have the Traxxas name attached to them, both have a pretty good selection of aftermarket parts available from companies like Hot Racing. Both run on brushless power and handle up to 6S LiPo, and both are capable of 50+ miles per hour. The Spartan is priced at $399.95, while the M41 is priced at $449.95. Bear in mind though, that either of these boats will require a pretty good sized lake to run on. Another consideration when choosing a hull design is the self-righting feature. While not all monohulls have a self-righting feature, none of the catamarans do. Typically, self-righting on an RC boat works in one of two ways. Sometimes, the hull is designed with a fairly symmetrical top and bottom, so that it will flip back over with the rotation of the prop. This works better for smaller boats like the Proboat 17, Lucas Oil, or Miss Geico Powerboat Racer. The Powerboat Racers are brushless boats that come with a 3S battery and charger straight from the box to push them to over 30 miles per hour, despite their small size. These 17-inch boats could tear up a pond, but given that they have brushless power behind them and a self-righting feature in case they flip, they would also fare well in a larger body of water. These have a full line of replacement parts, though aftermarket support doesn't exist for these as it would with some of the larger boats. All in all, the Powerboat Racers are really capable, versatile boats at only $189.99. Another boat that uses this type of self-righting is the Proboat React 17. The React 17 is the same size as the Powerboat Racers, but come equipped with a brushed motor, and is slower because of it. This makes it more appropriate for smaller bodies of water. This also puts it at a lower price point of only $99.99, which makes it the perfect boat for a beginner. The other option for self-righting is exemplified by the Proboat Sonic Wake 36. The Sonic Wake has a cavity in the hull which will fill with water if it flips. The cavity fills and shifts the weight to one side, allowing the boat to flip itself back over. This works better for larger boats that aren't able to flip from just the torque of the drive. The Sonic Wake 36 is a 36-inch V, similar in all respects to the Traxxas Spartan: size, speed, battery requirements, space requirements, and even price. The big difference here comes in the self-righting feature. The Spartan has a bit more in the way of aftermarket support, but self-righting is huge for most people, so in a V of this size and speed at a $400 price point, the Sonic Wake tends to be my recommendation. The overwhelming majority of boats are going to be speed boats, but that's not necessarily what everyone is looking for, so we'd also like to highlight a new offering that's pretty darn cool. This is the Proboat Horizon Harbor 30-inch tugboat. This boat has a huge, oversized motor and runs off of 3S power, but this isn't to deliver speed. The Horizon Harbor is a tugboat, and it really operates as one. It comes with removable retrieval arms to allow it to actually pull another RC boat. Interested in one of the catamarans that don't have a self-righting feature? This tugboat could be a lifesaver. It's also an incredible looking boat, with scale details and even an operating water pump. For looks, functionality, or for a low-stress time on the water, at $449.99, the Horizon Harbor tugboat is a pretty awesome option. Our last recommendations are a little higher end and highlight some of the differences in material quality between boats. We talked about the difference between hull designs, but there can also be differences in hull construction, and different materials can have advantages and disadvantages. Up until now, all of the boats we've talked about have had molded plastic hulls. Some boats, however, have fiberglass hulls. Enter the Proboat Zelos 36 and Impulse 32. These two boats, a catamaran and a deep V respectively, both come with quality fiberglass hulls. A fiberglass hull is much more resistant to the elements, cracking from stress and vibration, and flex that could occur while running. The downside, however, is that fiberglass hulls are more expensive. While you're more likely to need to replace a plastic hull at some point, a fiberglass hull will be more costly if and when you do need to replace it. The other side of that coin, though, is that fiberglass hulls are easier to repair without doing a full replacement. While fiberglass repair can take some skill and know-how to do well, repairing a molded plastic hull is pretty much impossible. The Zelos 36-inch twin brushless catamaran, priced at $679.99, is a large boat that runs on 6S power to 2 independent motor and ESC combos, and is capable of speeds over 75 miles per hour. The Impulse 32-inch, priced at $519.99, is capable of 55 plus miles per hour speeds on a 6S setup. These are some of the boats that we think are good choices at the moment, and some of the features and use cases we think you should consider when choosing a boat. This isn't exhaustive though. There are also hydroplanes, airboats, sailboats, boats in kit form, and some larger gasoline power boats on the market. While these aren't as common, and realistically not as appropriate for as many people, we'd love to give you advice on any of these options too. If you have other questions about boats, you can contact us by phone, email, Facebook, Instagram, here on YouTube, or stop into any of our 4 retail locations. As always, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we can't wait to see you again.